Hello everybody, FinnCapp here. I'd like to welcome you back to our first video for Path of Exile 1, the new Keepers 3.27 League. Now, I've been testing out a few different strategies, and none of them have really kind of resonated with me until I found this one, and it's a pretty basic map farm that we can get into for relatively cheap, depending on how you run it. In this farm, we're going to be running a T16 Mesa and farming strategy, where we're farming 16.5 originator maps, T17 fortress maps, ores, which we're turning into other maps, as well as altars. Now, as far as the altar, you can kind of pick which one you want, whether you want to do the blue altar or the red altar. I farm a lot of the blue. The Ichors for the red are selling a little bit more, and you get a little better consistency drop as far as currency with the reds, although the blue is the one that has the ability to have the divine shrine. So really kind of pick and choose. The points are pretty interchangeable. If you would prefer to farm blue, farm blue. If you prefer to farm red. You can kind of pick your poison from there. What I've also done is I've scried over the fracturing card from Canyon, as Mesa has no natural good div cards. You can kind of pick whichever div card you want. Canyon just happens to have the fracturing shard, and it's not something that's such a low drop rate you never see it, but it's enough that it's a nice little hit every once in a while. So that's what I chose to scry over. You can pick whichever card you'd prefer. Now, as far as the maps themselves, I did purchase all the maps. I rolled all the maps. I'll show you kind of a whole breakdown of what it cost me for that, everything it took to roll them, and it'll give you an idea of where we started at. But essentially, we're going to be running a total of 100 maps. And in that, we are running, again, 16.5 Mesa maps. With those, I didn't roll them super juiced. This is a farm to get into with a little bit of currency. Not completely no currency, but a little bit of currency. And depending on how much investment you put in, it can take you a lot more to roll your maps or a lot less. With these maps specifically, you are looking for 100% more maps. Now, I rolled it for at least 85% item quantity and 25% pack size. Can you roll them better? Yes. Just keep in mind that's going to increase your initial cost or your initial investment into it. So roll accordingly. But we are going to be running 100 total Mesa maps. You could also theoretically start with only about 20 of these. You do sustain them pretty well. Sometimes I over-sustain. The last time I did this farm, sometimes I just barely under-sustain. So you could start with 20 of them and only buy more as you needed. I bought 100 of them to start just to kind of show you guys everything in the farm, but your mileage may vary. And then we're going to be running 5 total Scarabs. We are going to be running 2 Kalguuran Scarabs, which are going to be adding an additional ore deposit. We are going to be running a Kalguuran Scarab of Guarded Riches, which will be taking those ore deposits and make sure the mobs that guard them are at least magic. We are increasing the pack size of those magic monsters and throughout the entire map with Monstrous Lineage. Now with this one, it really kind of depends on your budget. The Monstrous Lineage are a little bit more expensive, but you could also swap them out for the Influencing Scarab of the Hordes. With this one, what it will do is increase the pack size of the mobs coming out from the altars, which again is just more mobs, but in my opinion, a little less than you're getting for Monstrous Lineage. As well as we're going to finish off with a Cartography of Escalation, which is giving us, for the map modifiers affecting the area, more maps. And the whole kind of major point of this is getting T17 maps and other 16.5 to sell. So, but those are what we're running. And again, the only one you can swap out would be the Monstrous Lineage for Scarab of the Hordes. But that's really up to you. As well as on the map device itself, what we are going to be running is, once we get down to it, we're going to be adding settlers to each one of the maps, which is 5C each. All right, so let's go ahead and get an idea. Now, keep in mind the prices of this are as per the recording. Depending on when you're watching this video, they could be a little more, a little less. You'll have to check the current prices of your Faustus. But as far as prices, when we currently start, it's going to be a 100 map farm. For the Mesa maps, we paid roughly 13C each. Sometimes, depending on when I'm buying them, they were a tad cheaper. They were a little more expensive. So on average, just to make the math easy, 13C for 100. And we paid 1,300 chaos for that. For all the Escalation Scarabs, it was 67 chaos. For the Kalguuran Scarabs times 200, it was 388. For the Riches Scarabs, it was 67 for 100. And then for the Monstrous Lineage, it was 329 for 100. For putting the settlers on the map device for all of them, it's going to be 500 total for the 100 maps. Rolling all of them, we were using Orbs of Binding and Scours. As you can see, it took about 1,600 and about 1,500, which is another 388 chaos and another 62 chaos. We also chiseled each one of the maps, which was another 184 chaos. So total investment was about 3,285 chaos, or about 28 divines. Now, again, a lot of this cost is indicative of buying the maps. Again, you could buy about 20 of them and just sustain from there and see if you need to buy more, buy more. If you don't. I just did it because we're doing the 100 map test. We have them all here prepped and ready. I'm not trying to roll maps in between. So you can start this for a lot less, but this is just what I paid. So around 32 and a half or 32, almost 33 chaos per map cost going into it. So just keep that in mind. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and show you. We're going to go pop in here on one map real quick, just to kind of give you an idea. I will then come back and run all the 100 maps and see you back for the total breakdown. Okay, and before we get into showing the map, I'm going to go ahead and show you the setup for the Atlas tree. I will leave a link down in the description with a link to this tree. And I'll also kind of show you as we're going over points that you can possibly take out if you don't have your full set of points. But it'll give you an idea. That being said, if you're new here and you haven't yet, do me the greatest of favors. If you could hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't yet, as well as make sure to turn the bell notification on so you know when I post new videos. I would greatly appreciate it. It is a huge help to me and the channel. I'm a full-time streamer on Twitch, so please make sure and come over and check me out whenever I go live. I'll also leave descriptions or links in the description for that as well. But let's go ahead and get to the setup. All right, so now with this, we are using our complete complement of points. We do have a full setup Atlas. What we're going to do is we're going to come over here and start. We want to come over here and we want additional chance for ore deposits. And pretty much we're going to take everything that's doing modifiers, everything for the maps, both shapings. We're also picking up chance to add delirium. We are doing delirium in the map as well. More chance for delirium, ore deposits. Now again, here's where the points get kind of wishy-washy as far as what you want to run. We are again taking red altars. If you don't want to take the red altars, you can back out of these points. It's a little more difficult with these. If you're going to back out of these points, you can, but you need to take just another connecting point here so we can add the points here for ore deposit chance. And then you can come in and you can put them here for the blue altars. But then we are going to come up. We are taking more chance for delirium, more ore deposits. We're not specifically going after the Verisium. We're not trying to target that. The Verisium gives us very little in the way of easy to kill quick mobs. So if you want to, can you go into it for the chance of possible Starfall creators? You can, but that's not what this is for. So we are actually going for more of the other ones for the Crimson because it gives us more gross, which is more mobs, as well as the Bismuth, which gives us the additional modifiers that they add to the map. We're going to come up here. We're going to pick up modifiers for your maps, 5% more quality. We do want the chance for originator maps, so we're going to throw those in here. We're also going to come in here for more delirium rewards. And then here, we're going to shoot down, pick up the whole quant wheel, and then come in here for additional quant rarity. Now, if you're lacking in points, you have a couple of options. You can take where we just at the quant and these connecting nodes out. You can take and lose the Word of the Exarch. This is just adding the chance for doubling of the embers found and the all flames that can drop. So this is a good point to have, but it's not absolutely necessary. So you can lose a point here. You can lose 6 points here. Outside of that, you really kind of want to have a decent amount of points. This farm is kind of predicated on the fact that you're filling out most of your Atlas. So if you have less points, maybe look at a different farm. But I've showed you where you can knock a couple out from here and there. But here's the full Atlas. Again, I will leave a link for this down in the description so you can play with it and look at it from there. But let's go ahead and run the first map, and I will kind of show you how that goes. We're going to come in here. We're going to take our first Mesa. Again, we are running 2 of the Kalguuran. We are running a Cartography of Escalation, 1 of Monstrous Lineage, and then 1 of the Guarded Riches. We're going to make sure we have settlers on our device. We're going to activate. We're going to go ahead and pop you back into our tab here. And then one thing that I've done is this is going to be our dump tab for anything that we get. I've turned off all of my affinities, so nothing will go anywhere here or into our second currency tab. This is my main currency tab. We're keeping separate. I've turned off all of the affinities for it, and then I've turned on just currency affinity. So anything currency will go in here, everything else will go in here, and then at the end we'll go through and sort it all out and make it look nice and pretty for you. But with this, we're going to go in here, and what you want to do for the maps is we kind of want the red altars, and what we're specifically looking for on the altars is we are looking for map duplication. We are looking for divination card drops. And then we are also looking for quantity. To do that, we don't want the boss altars. So what we're going to do is we're going to speed in, kill the boss, and then we'll come back over to here, activate the delirium, and then run the map from there. You want to try to kill as little as possible. Obviously, you don't want to die. So if you need to kill something to stop from dying, go for it. If not, we come in, we kill the boss. Hopefully he doesn't kill us. We need to strict up our filter just a little bit. But then you run right back down the exact same way that you came before. Come over here, activate your mirror, and then you start clearing from here. I typically go to the bottom side first. With the delirium, it seems if I kind of go up and around the top side, it doesn't go very well. I usually end up losing it, but we're going to come over here and we got Quant and Vol, so we're going to go grab Quant, except for this is chaos damage per second, which I don't do very well with, so we'll grab that. So keep in mind, you also need to make sure you're not taking altars that are going to brick you or your build. The chaos per second is one that does not do very well for me, as well as targeted by a meteor. I typically get one shot. The Verisium Ore is one we'll come back and do at the end. I don't typically do a ton with the Verisium Ore just because it takes so long, but we are going to be running these Crimson ones. Crimson one give us a lot of mobs and a lot of maps within those, so... we definitely also need to strict up our filter again a little bit more. There are some uniques that we're not picking up that we need to be just not seeing on the map. But pick up maps as you see fit. You are going to get an absolute metric ton of actual maps. So if you want to kind of strict it down so you're not getting it, that's up to you. We're going to go for more quant. Now, the maps I typically pick up, just a lot because I use them for my map runners, but you're going to get so many T16 maps in this. If you want to turn them off, you can, for the most part, other than whatever map you're farming. I didn't show you, but I'll show you here in just a minute. We are specifically targeting Mesa map for the 16.5s, which is what we have favorited on our atlas. But a lot of the other ones, you can pick them up if you want to, and what you can do with those is you then can horizon them over to beach map. Is not bad. You could also horizon it over to Ivory Temple. Either one of those you can use for your mappers as well. I believe Ivory Temple has the fracturing card, so you could do that. We are definitely doing all of the breaches. Depending on the mechanic, like Harvest we're not going to do, but anything that doesn't really take you out of the map other than the breach stuff. They did just buff the breach stuff. So I want to take a look and see how that does. Usually it's pretty good, explosion at the end, especially on the fortress. So we are running those. Now it can mess with your delirium a little bit depending on the speed of your build. I don't usually have a problem with speed wise, but it can slow you down enough that it can make you lose the fog a little early. So it's just something to be in mind of. Kill this. Pick up what little bit of loot we're going to get at the end. Decent amount, a little better. Oh, you know what? It happens sometimes. Unfortunately, the problem that you run into is when you do die, when you get those nice little one shots, is it kind of messes with your fog. As you can see, it messed with our fog a little bit. Hopefully we can get back up here and gain it again. Or if you lose it, that's okay. It happens. But just continue with the map. Go from there. But as you can see, you're still getting a ton. Now, the bismuth is a nice thing if you can find it early. Just because it does add that additional quant to the rest of the map. If not, so be it. It happens. It's not that big of a deal. But if you can see it early and grab it, that would be great. But as I said, you can see you're just getting a ton of maps here. And you'll find that you'll go through a couple maps where it's like, I didn't really get much out of that. And then it's like, boom, you get 3 T17s from a map. So just keep that in mind. You're not going to get huge hits every single time you go into the map. So basic currency, divination card, unique jewelry. We'll grab that one. Just because with the unique jewelry, the some of the cards from it are pretty decent. But we've cleared up there, so we'll come down here. Basic currency, additional divination card. And again, we're not getting any of the good stuff on this first test map because, you know, of course, we're recording, so it's not going to say, hey, we're going to give you all the perfect ones. But really, you are looking for map duplication. You are looking for divination card drops because of the scry that we put over for the fraction shard card. And then we are looking for anything quantity-wise after that. More divination cards, or again, if you're looking for the basic currency is kind of okay, but we're far enough in the map, it doesn't matter. So there, I'm just looking for any type of map, or I'm looking for any type of div card stuff to add to a possible drop here for the last one of these. Grab our last one. Contracts you could also pick up and sell those if you want to. You do need to have a decent amount of them to sell it to make it worth. Kind of thaumaturgy are okay, but so there's the map. See a ton of maps. Now we got kind of unlucky on this testing run. We didn't get any T17s and we didn't get any 16.5s, but that is not very indicative. So what I am going to do is I'm going to do a time lapse. You'll see the next, I don't know, probably 30 minutes of gameplay over the next couple of minutes for a song. So you'll kind of see, I'll slow it down a little bit for any of the big drops we get there, but on that, I'm going to go run the next 100 maps, and I'll see you back here when we're done for the loot breakdown. Alrighty, everybody, welcome back. That was a long but fun couple of hours. Let's go ahead and go over our dump tab, our currency tab, just so you can kind of get an idea and see what we're going to do. I'm then going to organize it, go through, sell off a bunch of stuff, value everything. Now, one thing I will tell you, you will notice, I don't have a lot of either Mesa or strand maps in here. With the Mesa maps, the Strand maps, you just get so many of them, and they just fly off the shelf. I would basically fill up one of my merchant tabs with the Mesa maps for 1C a piece. I tried selling them for 2. They didn't go very hot, but 1C a piece, can't keep them in stock. Fill the tab, within 10 minutes, it's gone. And I did that multiple times during this farm, as well as with the Strand maps. Now, the Strands were selling for a little bit more. They were 2C a piece, same thing. As many as I could put in there and sell, completely gone. You'll also notice when we go in here, a lot of these other base maps are not really that expensive. Just a lot of the T16s. There's just so many of them are on the market, probably worth maybe a chaos each. I have another strategy I'm going to be doing after this. So I am technically going to buy all of them from myself, from my personal stash for this stash. I'll put all the breakdown, all the map costs and that kind of stuff. I'll have it all in there as well. But just to give you a kind of idea, we had a couple of nice little drops. We did drop 2 Valdos. We dropped Headhunter. I will not be include the Doctor. I will not include this in the breakdown. Reflecting Mist, not going to include that, but I am going to include the Iridescence, and we did drop one of the IC Brothers, the Fracturing card, or the Fracturing Shard card. I will include that as well, and then all this, and then we're going to go over, I'll total up all the maps, show you everything that we had, and then I'll do the breakdown of what it completely cost us, what we made in profit, and what we made per hour. So I'll see you guys back here after the fun, arduous task of getting it all broken down for you. So we're going to go through, show you everything I got. We wealthy at exile a couple of the tabs to give you price breakdowns, and I'll show you a text document that kind of shows everything that we had. So last time we were here, you see we had these basically full. We've gone through and cleared all them out and kind of went over and kind of cleaned them all up. To start, I'm going to show you the currency tab that we had. This is our normal currency tab, so that's not the one we used. I have ones completely separate for the farm. This is everything that we picked up while we were playing. We did get a total of 7 Raw Divines. And with here, we have 1,459 chaos. Now, with this, keep in mind, I was constantly selling both my Mesa and my Strand maps. The Mesas, I would basically get almost a full tab full, put them in, and within 5 minutes, they would all be gone at 1C a piece. And the Strands were selling at 2C a piece just as fast. So make sure that you are selling them. It's basically a chaos every time you click it. Definitely worth picking them up at the very least and selling them for people doing other strategies. With that, we did do a Wealthy Exile breakdown for this. So let's pop over here real quick. That's not the one we want. This is the one we want. So in that tab, as per Wealthy Exile, we have 31 divs in there total. We also have one that we did for our Scarab tabs, 11D or 11 Divines. And then we also have one here for what we did for Diviner's Orbs. I'm going to show you the breakdown of everything else that we've done, but this is just the easiest way for pricing them. You can probably sell these through Faustus for a little bit better. Same with this. You can probably sell these if you want to slow sell them a little bit better through Faustus. You'll probably get a little better prices, but this is just easier for the showing of this to show you what we have. All right. So we come back in here. We'll go through all the tabs of everything we got. Now we did get 2 kind of big drops that I will have on the sheet, but they were not included in the price breakdown. So they're not affecting the price of everything that we've done. So with this, we did start. We got a bunch of, I believe we have 65 total Mesa maps that we dropped back from the 100 originally that we started with. So decent profit back. We got a bunch of Strands, a couple of city squares, and a couple of canyons. All these are in here because they're showing that they were worth a little bit more than the rest of the originator maps. Anything else that was below that, I then horizoned over into beach, because out of the 16s that you can horizon into, beach was selling the best. There's that. We did, I believe it's 114 total fortresses that we dropped, which you can see all here. Now with all of the maps itself, you'll see it in the breakdown. I took all of the maps, the normal T16s that we had, and I purchased them for me. So I paid this farm for them. It was like 750 maps. Some were worth 1, a couple were worth 2, but most of them were worth 1, but nobody was buying them. So I bundled them all together. I basically paid half a chaos for every map, and I bought all of them for a future strategy, which is all this chaos here, which is in the breakdown as well. Another 50C here for the Guardian and Conqueror maps. All the wombats that we got. If you were using these, obviously you don't need to worry about doing that, but some of these are worth a decent amount of pricings. The provisionings are not, and the one for items are not, but like the ancients are worth like 12C or like 18, 17, 18C a piece. These I think were worth 12. I'll show them in the breakdown, but you can see what all it was worth, as well as people using the hive brains. All the Scarabs that we just talked about in the Wealthy Exile breakdown. as well as the deli orbs. Now in this, again, I used it just for the deli orbs, and then I put all these back in. I manually priced and put the divine vessels in because they're still worth 2 CAPs. They're worth picking up. The 3 incandescent invitations that we got, all of the simulacrums that we got while farming this. The 2 things that were kind of big that I did include because I think they're very indicative of part of the farm, and I don't see it outside the scope of what you would drop in 100 maps, is 2 of all those puzzle boxes, and we did drop 1 of the IC Brothers. The 2 that we did not include, which I don't think are indicative, but we still dropped, are the Reflecting Mist, as well as we dropped a Doctor card on the altars for the red ones. One of the things that you can get is where you can get, it will drop a div card that will give you unique jewelry. Headhunter, Mage Blood, things of that such are considered jewelry. So we popped that once, got it, and we dropped the Doctor. But again, those are on the sheet just to see, but we did not actually include them in the price breakdown. So give me 1 second and I'll get you the sheet to show everything that we had for the price breakdown. All right. As you saw earlier, I adjusted the price up here just a little bit because we did use a couple of Orbs of Horizon for some of the originator maps. So I added this back in. But again, at the time of the recording when we did it, with Mesa maps, 13 C a piece for 100, so 1300 C. The Scarabs for the Escalation were 67 C for 100. The Kalguuran Scarabs, we did 200 of those for that additional ore, 388 C. The Riches, another 100, 67 C. Monstrous Lineage Scarabs were 100, 329 C. We did the Settlers on the map device again. That was 500 C total for all 100 maps. Scours about 1600. Orbs of Binding to roll about another 15, almost 1600. 388 C, 62 C. Chisels for all 400, or chisel for all the maps, which was 400, 184 C, and then the Orbs of Horizon, another 17. At the time when we did this, Divines were at 117 Chaos apiece, so it cost us 3,302 Chaos, or 2.8 Divines. Rough cost was 33.02 Chaos per map. With the maps, we ran them in an average of 5 minutes, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, which gave us about 12 per hour. I added an hour and a half in. I don't know if most people did this, but this is something I think is kind of something that you need or something that you should pay attention to when you're doing these farms. You know, what does it take you prep time? What does it take you sell time? So I added an hour and a half total time for, you know, purchasing the maps, rolling them, and then there's getting them everything ready to prep and sell at the end. Which gave us about a 9.5 hour total for the entire time, start to finish, for everything. Now, this is everything that we had in the things in the stash tab to give you a breakdown. So in that currency stash tab, and again, when we did this, the cost of divines has gone down a little bit. So they're about 111 C a piece. So in that currency tab, we have 3,441 chaos. In the Scarab tab, we had 1,232 chaos. As far as the maps, again, like I said, there were 750. We did half a chaos per map, so I paid them 375. The Fortress maps were 46C as of the time of this recording. So if you go to do this farm and they're up or down, that may vary depending on when you do it, but this was at this. And they were 5,152 chaos. The originator maps, we got 65 of them. They had gone up a little bit in price to 15C total, and that was pretty across the board, so 975 chaos for that. The strands we had, there were 7C a piece for 119. City squares that we had for 10C a piece for 40. The canyons for 9C a piece for 18. The rest of them, all the beach maps, were 7C a piece, so that was another 406. The divine vessels were 2C a piece. Like I said, to me, kind of worth picking up, another 28C. All the simulacrums that we had, we did farm a little bit more than 10. We had a couple splinters left over, but I'm not including those. So 210C for those. For all the delirium orbs, with another 400 chaos. Again, at the time of the recording, the IC Brothers was 310C. The Valdos puzzle boxes were 123 each, so another 246. And then the incandescent imitations were 80C a piece for 240. Again, the 2 things that we did not include, but I'm showing him here just so you can see them. We did drop a Doctor, which was 825 chaos. The Reflecting Mist was 490, and this is the price for all the wombats. Again, if you're not gonna sell them, you want to use them for the the chance at the bigger returns, great. But if not, you can sell them. The mysterious ones were 5C a piece for 60C. The lavish are 9C a piece for 100. The ancient ones, which are the ones for the unique, are 17C. They've kind of fluctuated anywhere between 15 and 19, but they were pretty average, about 17 when I was doing this. So 187 chaos for that. The hive glands have been 3C a piece for 9. And then the foul currency that we had, just random, none of them were the big ones, so about 10C for that. So breaking it all down and what we're looking for the title of this, the total cost of our investment into it, again, was 3,302 chaos or 28.2 divines. Our total value of everything that we had once we were done was 13,566 chaos or 122.2 divines. We take the cost of our total value, gives us our profit of 10,254 chaos or 92.3 divines. You divide that by 9.5 hours, that gives us 9.7 divines per hour. Pretty decent farm, nice chill farm, something I quite enjoy doing. So hopefully it works for you. If you guys have any questions, definitely make sure and leave them down in the comments. Again, keep in mind, I do stream Tuesday through Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern. I do it full time. So if you guys wouldn't mind coming by, or if you have any questions you want to ask, you're more than welcome to leave them in the comments here, or come see me on Twitch, which there will be a link in the description. Thank you so much for enjoying me and coming along with this video with me. I hope you had a great time. I had an amazing time to take it. I'm going to start working on the next farm, and I will see you guys on the next one. I hope you have an amazing day. Okay, bye.